Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the NEP Summer Series presented by RSAL TV. I'm Austin Belke, joined in the booth by Kenny Kibbe and Ryan Salvatore behind the cameras, turning the knobs and pushing the buttons. Round one of the Summer Series has us in sunny Pensacola, Florida at Five Flags Speedway. Kenny, this is one of your favorite tracks. What can you tell us about Five Flags?
Yeah, this is definitely one of my personal favorite racetracks on the iRacing service. This is a half-mile oval that's famous for the presence of the Snowball Derby each and every year, which is one of the largest late model races in the country, where Cup drivers, past, present, and future, go at it with local stars along with other short track aces
So just saying,
for the
I'll be
coveted
there to
Snowball
help.
Derby
If you guys
trophy.
are
But
sitting
anyway, it's
there
a very
wrecking,
high speed
you might want to
oval
talk to me.
around this place. Very abrasive surface. And I think tonight
We
the
will
truck
sitting
that's
right
able
here.
to roll the center of the corner but able to get onto the throttle without too much wheel spin is going to win this race tonight potentially. But there's a lot more other factors that we'll bring up as the race plays out.
Just a quick look at your race analysis for tonight. Drivers had 2 laps to set their fastest lap in qualifying. That's how we've gridded up the field. Then they'll have 80 laps of racing. So if you didn't set a great qualifying time, don't worry. We're going to have a lot of race time for you to make up those spots. Everyone's going to have 2 tire sets available in the pits. And we'll also have 2 green-white checkered attempts just in case things, we're going to say, go awry towards the very end of the night here. But 80 laps, a lot of racing to be done in there, Kenny. But you talked about that tire wear and the fact that the driver who wins the race is probably going to be the one who does the best job of rolling through the center of the corners.
Yeah, for sure. And I expect with the tire wear, I think you'll see the truck's balance kind of change in stages. Might feel free at first, tighten up, might free up again later on. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Drivers are starting to grid up now. They've got just about a little over a minute and a half left before they have to get their trucks out on the front stretch. You can see them popping into view there, just out of view. Just behind there they go. There's the field. Brent Roy, the Camry kid, qualified on pole just a hair faster than Steve Daddy on the 99 truck, who starts to his outside. Row number 2, you've got Tim Shinoski on the inside and Zane Farrell on the outside. Keith Lord's going to line up in the 5th position. He'll have Corey Casagrande to his outside, rolling off in the 6th spot. Jeff Bradway is going to start in the 7th position. He'll have Jason Ricker starting to his outside. Kenny, why don't you take us through the rest of the starting order?
Yeah, for sure. So starting in ninth, we'll have Adam Henry, and in 10th place, next to him will be a driver making his debut in NEP, Zachary Plessity. 11th place goes to Jared Adams in the number 8 truck, and next to him will be longtime NEP driver Scott McDonald in 12th. 13th goes to another rookie, the 52, that's Garland Meadows, and he will start next to a fellow broadcaster and Paul Strickland Jr., who trades his microphone for a steering wheel this week. And then in the back row, we have Ryan Messer. He'll be one to watch as he didn't get a good qualifying time, but he's always fast in these NEP races. He will start next to gentleman Jeff Brown.
Thanks, Kenny. That was our entire list through the starting field here. Just to walk you folks at home through what's going on, this is sort of like I mentioned our summer series shootout, just a little bit of fun we can have during the season to maybe help us grow our numbers in the NEP league. So like Kenny mentioned, we've got 2 drivers making their league debut here in NEP. But every week I'll be joined by someone, we're going to call them famous, right? A different color commentator, guys like Steve Daddio, John Peters, and the man who's in the booth next to me today, Kenny Kibbe, 2-time NEP Series champion. He's led the second most amount of laps in the NEP Series, one of the proverbial favorites week in and week out.
And in this race here tonight, there's definitely a few favorites to watch out for. Longtime NEP drivers, Brent Roy, multi-time race winner, Steve Daddio, former champion himself, Zane Farrell, a race winner as well. And like I said before, that number 1 truck towards the back, Ryan Messer, he'll definitely be one to watch as he comes up through the field.
Ryan Messer had what I'll call a Denny Hamlin run in the NEP series last season. He just went on a run of races where he couldn't put a foot wrong. If he got the strategy wrong, oh no, he didn't. Caution came out, so he could get up there and fight for the contention for the win. And he won, gosh, probably like 4 or 5 races straight. He was definitely on a tear. But the iRacing pace truck is leading the field through turns 3 and 4 for the final time before we go green. Lights are out on the top of it. Green flag waves to the air. Brent Roy's going to take the trucks through the gears as they all make their way into turn number 1. You can see them starting at single file there. Steve Daddio slots down to the inside. Zane Farrell couldn't quite get down in front of Tim Shinoski, so he's going to have to ride up there around the outside. But Kenny, the outside's not a terrible place to be here.
No, you can actually make some hay, especially early on in the run on the outside here if you pinch off your opponent and get good drive, but you will want to fight for that bottom as we see Tim Chinaski get loose and he spins off of turn 2 and they did throw the caution. He actually saved it, kept the truck off the wall and just rode through the grass and went on his merry way.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that was going to be a lot larger rack. We're going to get a replay of it here. This is coming off turn 2. Not sure we got any help here. This is the overhead view. Yeah, just got the rear end out from under him. So easy to do with these trucks. Kind of goes into the power band in a weird spot where all of a sudden the engine horsepower really kicks up and helps the truck kick sideways there. No harm done. Looks like Tim was able to keep her going.
Yeah, and I think that was a case of cold tires. You have a cold racetrack. The track temp's only in like the mid 70s. Cold tires and everybody's being really aggressive right out of the gate. And I think just a little bit too much throttle and wheel input kind of at the same time just caused him to spin there. It was probably a condition he didn't really feel much in practice because a lot of these drivers kind of just putz around a little bit in practice. The track was probably hotter as well. So these trucks might be feeling a little bit different than they did earlier on.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Kenny. It should be noted that the entirety of the practice session we had earlier was 40 minutes long. That was completed entirely, like I mentioned, in the sunlight. So things were a lot hotter. And Kenny, you mentioned when you went out there in the truck, the sun was an issue. It was kind of blinding you at certain points in the lap. And definitely, as a result, the track temperature was much hotter, a lot faster, right, to bring those tire temps up to what you consider operating temperatures and pressures.
Be interesting to see here. Yep, first restart of the day. Let's see how this goes.
Same old situation there from Brent and Steve Daddio, sliding themselves again 1 and 2 on the bottom. This time, though, Zane finds himself in the 3rd position on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got the 7 truck of Corey Casagrande to his outside. Corey using that outside to his advantage and tells Zane he got a great run on the exit of the corner to claw back all the ground he'd lost there through the center of the corner. Let's see what they can do. They got Jason Ricker and Keith Lord just behind them, kind of chomping at their heels right now.
Yeah, there's a couple of rows back of 2x2 action there. And you saw Jason Ricker there in the blue and white truck got a little bit pushy in turn 3 and 4, and that's the dangerous thing at 5 flags. If you don't get turn 3 and 4 right, you really mess up the trajectory of that corner, push up, and really lose a lot of momentum.
Steve Daddio had a huge run there on Brent Roy. Thought about taking it somewhere. Brent kind of went down to cover him off, and just behind those drivers, you saw Corey Casagrande go around the outside of Zane Farrell. Now he's trying to do the same thing to Steve Daddio. Let's see if he can get a good enough run here off turn 4. He's really good at rolling the middle here, the turns 3 and 4.
Spinning 3 and 4.
They're spinning.
Yeah, and that's, and a huge collision. Adam Henry had spun. And I was actually going to bring this up. We're looking at a replay here. Adam Henry in the yellow truck, you'll see him actually get loose entering turn 3 all by himself. And who does he fall into? It's Ryan Messer, who we had talked about, trying to make a charge through the field. And then coming in late was that other truck that collided with him. That was Garland Meadows that had contact.
Yeah, unfortunately for Garland, not quite the initiation into NEP he wanted. Terrible luck there for Ryan Messer, number 1 truck. Kind of just an unfortunate bystander there.
Yeah,
Kenny, how about the run, though? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Ryan Messer might get away with this. It looks like he's going to stay out and not pit for damage. I took a look at his truck and see he's kind of weaving it back and forth, just trying to feel things out. I think he's going to be okay. But I was going to say that him having the poor qualifying effort, that is the danger right there of having poor qualifying efforts is you get put into the melee here from the beginning until you're able to get up towards the front. And he's got a long way to go still. He's only in 11th place, so things are really congested here at Five Flags. Things happen quickly with the high speeds, and that's the danger at the beginning of these races.
See a couple drivers down on pit road getting serviced. Looks like that's Scott McDonald, Jeff Brown, and Adam Henry for right now. Henry able to just barely get out ahead of the pace truck to avoid going one lap down there. 13 laps into the event so far. Brent Roy has led every single one of them. Corey Casagrande in second. Steve Daddio's third. Jason Rickers in fourth. And Zane Farrell rounds out the top five.
Yeah, and I always find it interesting when you have a new driver on the front row. So, Steve Daddio is up towards the front. He dropped to third. Corey Casagrande now gets a crack at Brent Roy on this next restart. We'll see what he's able to do here on the jump. And I was a bit surprised that Steve, he showed good pace for a few laps, but then he started to just fade. I don't know if he's conserving or if he was struggling with the handling. But then Corey got by him, and now he has a chance to grab the lead on this restart.
Yeah, Corey's had a great run through the field right here. Started, I believe, back in the fourth position, so he's only gained 2 spots, but doing a great job so far.
Green, green, green.
Pace truck once again down pit road. Brent Roy brings him through the gears. Let's see if Corey can slot down. Looks like he won't be able to. Steve Daddio did a great job to match Brent's speed off the line there. Corey's got a ton of speed around the top. He should be able to slide in line there on the bottom. And now he can set his sights in on Brent Roy. Maybe see if he can't take the lead of this race for a while.
Yeah, Corey's looking real good. Ooh, one truck up in the wall. That was Zachary Plessity out of turn 4. Looks like he keeps it going. He's all good. There's a little bit of gap behind him, but yeah, Corey's looking really fast right now, and he's ripping that top side. We do have to wonder how much he's taxing his tires compared to some of these other trucks up here. As you see Ricker go a little bit wide as he's trying to get around Steve Daddio, who's stuck on the bottom.
Yeah, Ricker put his nose out there, got a little bit too tight there, lost a lot of ground to your 2 leaders. He and Steve Daddio right now, the proverbial cork in the bottle to Keith Lord. He's trying to look for a way through, but it's hard to make a third lane work here around Five Flags. Corey's put his nose to the outside of Brent a couple times. See if he can get the over-under on him. Not quite going to happen this time down the back stretch. He's going to have to slot back in line and try to work him over a little longer.
Yeah, Corey's really working on Brent here, and I think Brent's kind of upped the pace a little bit, noticing that, as those two have started to pull away just a hair from the rest of the field. As we do have a few side-by-side battles still. As a little bit of contact on the backstretch there between the 9 and the 99, as Ricker's trying his best to complete that pass for the bronze medal spot.
Yeah, and it's sort of the duality of Steve Daddio wants to go as high up on the track as he can to maximize his corner exit speed. Jason Ricker wants to pinch him down and there to try to minimize that, get Daddio a little bit looser, especially off the corner. Looks like Ricker's going to slide into the 3rd position right now. That moves Daddio down into 4th. Now Daddio's going to have to contend with Keith Lord in the 17 truck on his tail, and Keith's got Zane behind him. Zane looks hungry, but honestly, kind of looking more reserved right now out of Zane. Not quite used to this look from that 14 car.
Yeah, he actually almost got run over by the 13 of Jeff Bradway entering turn 3, and that's kind of just different schools of thought of how to get around this place. You'll have some drivers, Bradway's really loose off of turn 4, or 2 rather. But some drivers will really float it down into the corners here, and others will really charge the corners. There's not necessarily a right or wrong way to do things, but sometimes that kind of misinterpretation between drivers can lead to contact on corner entry here.
Yeah, how about Ryan Messer all the way back up now into the 7th position? Corey Casagrande. Handful of opposite lock.
Yeah, that was a great save. And, that's the thing, too. A turn 4 is always tempting. It's tempting to get on the throttle hard, and sometimes you just can't do that, especially because that front stretch is almost kind of curved all the way around. You're always putting a little bit of wheel into it. And that time, Corey just got a little too loose, and now he has to fight his way back up there.
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially because you want to, when you're in the second position trying to make that pass for the lead, you want to try to cut off that corner exit, get a straighter run off the corner, try to mount the charge to the leaders inside there, whoever is in front of you. And I think Corey just got a little bit too eager to keep the wheel turned to the left and try to shortcut that. And of course, just got a little bit loose there off the corner. A fantastic save, though, from that 7 machine. So Corey, lucky for him, able to stay up in the race.
And we have a couple side-by-side battles. Keith Lord was taking a look at third place with Steve Daddio, and now Ryan Messer has gotten by Zane Farrell, but Zane's trying to fight back on the inside. At the same time, Steve Daddio, I think he's kind of gotten into a little bit of a rhythm, as now all of a sudden he is trying to pounce on to Jason Ricker for second place, while Brent Roy is widening the gap from first back to second.
Yeah, Steve's one of those guys. He'll kind of have a clock in the back of his mind, a stopwatch, if you will. And as soon as that thing ticks down to 0, Steve's back on the attack. So he kind of just waits in the weeds for a while. And once Steve feels like he can attack and make up some places, he's going to do just that. So now you see him again look into the inside of Jason Ricker. We'll see if he can make this pass off the corner, doing a great job staying with him. Ricker with a little bit of better run off the corner. Gonna leave Daddy-O the inside though, and don't look now, but Keith Lord's just behind them. And how about that one truck, Ryan Messer? You just talked about him going around the outside of Zane Farrell. He continues his march back up through the field right now in that 5th position.
Yeah, and I think right now, other than the leader, Brent Roy, who's kind of just cruising right now, the 2 best looking trucks out there seem to be the 99 of Daddio and the 1 of Messer. They're really trying to paint that white line in turn 1 and 2. See how Steve gets right down onto that white line. That's what I like to see. It shows patience and it shows discipline. And also, here now that he's clear of the 9 truck, a nice little arc in 3 and 4, get right down by the inside wall. Ooh, his Ricker's loose off turn 4.
Yeah, Ricker really had to get out of the throttle there. That forced Messer to check up as well. Forced Messer to lose a spot to Zane Farrell, unfortunately. So that's going to knock him back down into the 6th position. And now he's going to have to contend with Corey Casagrande. Gotten those tires to cool off from his almost spin right down the front stretch. Corey's looking to the outside now as Messer slots down to the inside. Unfortunately for these guys, though, Ricker and Farrell are too wide in front of him. Like I said, not a whole lot of room to make that 3rd groove happen around here.
Yeah, if we could ride on board with either the 1 or the 7 truck, you'll get to see how congested it is around this place and how the balance of the truck, I said it would kind of go in stages where the truck's balance is going to feel different the more laps we put on these tires. Look at the wheel movements of the 1 truck. You see he's tight, putting a lot of wheel into it. But then you get on the throttle. Look how much right-hand wheel movement there is in that 1 truck, and he's arguably one of the better handling trucks out there. There's a lot going on in a short amount of time here around Five Flags.
Yeah, these guys are busy in the cockpits here, these trucks. You see Messer. And, of course, he's in a little bit of a precarious situation right now because he's got Ricker to his outside. Oh, a little bit of contact there. That's going to upset the trucks as they go into the corner. It's going to give Corey Casagrande a shot now down to the inside. You're going to see Ricker, though, gain back a lot of time. Oh, contact again between the 9 and the 7. Messer should clear himself this time off of turn 4. That's going to give Corey Casagrande an excellent shot. He'll clear himself as well as Ricker continues to tumble down the leaderboard.
Yeah, and this is a story of comers and goers where this track at Five Flags is very abrasive. You can really attack and get some good lap times in early, but if you're too harsh about it, you're going to pay for it later on. And Ricker certainly is one of those trucks who's paying for it on this long haul as he falls into the clutches of Jeffrey Bradway, who looks pretty solid right now.
Yeah, Bradway's looking quite well in control of his truck. Ricker seems to be all over the shop. He might have really upset that rear axle on his truck. Saw him really loose off turn 4 1 lap ago, and I think he's going to concede the spot now to both Bradway and Shanoski. They're going to go around the outside. Not too often you see a pass made around the outside quite this fast out of these drivers here at Five Flags.
Now we are starting to see the leader, Brent Roy, get into a little bit of lap traffic. He just went by Garland Meadows. He's got Paul Strickland ahead of him and then Jeff Brown ahead of him. As you see, some good courtesy by the lappers so far, but a large gap after Jeff Brown gets passed. It just goes to show we're having starting to have a little bit longer of a run here. Jeff Brown with a little bit of an issue into turn 1, and Steve Daddio also being pressured by Keith Lord for second as they knife their way through this traffic.
Yeah, Keith's having a great run tonight. You don't see him very often on Thursdays because he is a spotter for many NASCAR series in real life, and usually Thursday is the day they decide to go to wherever they're racing. So we don't see Keith a whole lot during the year, but nice to have him here on a Tuesday. Of course, is one of his several days during the week, excuse me, where he's not at the racetrack in real life. So we get him on the simulator.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Corey Casagrande and his recovery. You know, he got really loose off of turn 4, lost a bunch of spots. He's kind of put his head down, cooled those tires off, and you can do that. You can kind of just chill out, run smoothly for a little while, and then kind of go back to attacking. And he's every bit as fast as the one truck right in front of him as they try to run down Zane Farrell. But he's got a good truck here. He's just got to manage the mistakes, keep the consistency going, and he may be able to have a shot at this thing.
Yeah, the driver from Stafford Springs, Connecticut, having quite a good second half of this run so far. Like you mentioned, almost spun himself out there down the front stretch, but he's done a whale of a job getting his tires back underneath him. He's holding really even right now with Ryan Messer, and Messer is one of the fastest guys in the league. Might have upset his tires a little bit, right, having to knife his way through the field, but Corey's doing a great job to stay with him. Those two drivers right now trying to track down Zane Farrell. That's the white truck, number 14, you see just up the road from those two. And of course, up the road from those two guys, Steve Daddio and Keith Lord, separated by just about 4 or 5 truck lengths so far.
Yeah, and right now it looks like most drivers are running in like the 17.6s, 17.7s for lap times. The leaders, the first, second, and third are kind of trading back and forth on the lap times. They're pretty even right now. And we're over halfway through this race already. It's an 80-lap race. We're on lap 48, so the laps really clicked by quickly once we get some green flag laps going. And the trucks are really spreading out, too. So we do have a battle there for second on screen. We got another kind of close battle for fifth and sixth, but things are really starting to spread out. And everybody at this point is probably kind of racing the racetrack.
Yeah, this is, I think, where we're going to start to see tire wear come into play, right? I think the guys that continue to set fast times have less wear in the tires than the guys that are kind of all over the shop, either did one thing or another to upset their tires, kind of get that heat, and then once you build heat, the tires slide more. When they slide more, they build more heat. It's a very vicious cycle in this iRacing simulation when you try to upset the tires in the car or truck, in this case, just handles worse and worse throughout the run. That's kind of been the story here for Jason Ricker. Just upset those tires, hasn't quite gotten them back underneath him. Speaking of a guy who has the tires up underneath him, Corey Casagrande, looking at the inside right now of Ryan Messer, the number 1 machine.
Yeah, and this could be a pretty fierce battle here. These are two of the faster trucks in the field, and Corey's obviously probably a little bit frustrated with how the race has gone for him so far, and he knows he's got a quick truck. Messer knows he's got a quick truck as well and wants to hold that position off. I'm actually a little bit surprised, though, that they really didn't cut into the gap back to Zane. As Messer's really loose off of turn 4. That was near contact. He's just trying to get greedy on the throttle, carry that momentum, and it's just so easy for the trucks to step out here.
Yeah, you can see just how difficult it is for Messer to put the throttle down right now because Corey's doing a great job to stay even with him off the corner. Usually the guy on the high side will have the momentum off the corner, especially. That's why you'll usually see that guy drive around the person on the inside. That time, though, in turns 1 and 2, I don't know if Corey got really tight in the center or really loose and had to back out of the throttle. Oh, a little bit of counter steer there. Contact with the number 7 to the number 1.
I think that's just a little bit of frustration, just Corey trying to take a little bit more track and drive in a little bit deeper to try to make that pass. And the more and more you do that, the harder and harder it is to get the truck to turn because it's more wear on the front tires when you're driving hard on entry like that. And they got away with it, but now Corey's going to have to drop back and kind of refocus again here as looks like Brent Roy, the leader, is catching up to more lap traffic.
Yeah, to your point though, Kenny, I was surprised that the number 1 and 7 never really got any closer to the 14 of Zane Farrell. As you see on screen right now, Brent Roy going around the outside. I believe that's Jeff Brown, and there you see Steve Daddio and Keith Lord just barely come into shot before the camera angle changes.
Yeah, and in a little bit here, Brent will actually have about 3 or 4 trucks that he can see up ahead of him to lap. So that might be a little more of a challenge for him this time, but he does have a pretty good gap back to Steve Daddio and Keith Lord. And Keith is all over the back bumper of the 99 as we ride on board with Keith, who does a little bit of counter steering out of turn 4. These guys are about a second and a half or so behind the leader, Brent Roy, who's kind of cruising here with about 21 laps to go next time by.
Yeah, Keith got really loose off the exit of turn 4 that last time by. Allowed Steve a little bit of breathing room now, but I fully believe that Keith's going to run him back down. I think Keith's a little bit faster than Steve right now. Whether Steve is going for it or not, or maybe he's trying to save his tires, but I think at this point, if we get a caution, Kenny, definitely got to come down pit road, bolt on 4 fresh Goodyears.
So a couple little storylines just developing. Jason Ricker is pulled out of the race for the night, and Corey Casagrande actually made the pass on Ryan Messer. And don't look now, but the number 40 Bucky's truck is, as you see on a replay here, this was Corey making the pass on Ryan Messer, I believe. And right behind them is Tim Shinoski, and he has closed the gap to both of these trucks. I think he's done a really good job of saving his tires. As you see there, nice pass by Corey.
Yeah, no surprise at all to see Tim Shinoski having saved his tires until this late in the run. If we get a caution anymore and guys didn't have the opportunity for a pit stop to change out those tires, Tim's definitely going to be one of those guys you think he's got a shot at the win because he's been saving his stuff all race long. Keith really shoved the truck into the corner there. So let's get a quick look here at the 99 and the 17. They've been all over each other, swapping lanes, getting a little sideways there. And of course, Zane Farrell has started to creep in on these guys, getting closer and closer into the shot here.
Yeah, Zane has actually had really good long run pace. I do wonder if that's because he's been able to just settle into a rhythm and just race the racetrack and kind of been by himself for the last, 30 laps maybe? Whereas the 99 and the 17, they've been really battling each other, pressuring each other, forcing each other to do things that maybe they wouldn't normally want to do by themselves. Zane's been really focused here and has been running some nice consistent lap times. Just a quick note too, we have 15 laps to go. If there is a caution, obviously everybody would pit for 4 tires. There's 2 sets of tires in the pits. Nobody's really used any of them, but we've been clean and green for quite some time now.
Yeah, back in the pack, a change for position just happened for the 6th spot. Tim Shinoski got around Ryan Messer. I think Messer's tires are starting to disagree with him more and more as this run goes on. So, and Tim Shinoski, number 40 truck, that 6th position there. You can see him. He continues to drive away right now from that number 1 machine of Messer.
Yeah, and some of the drivers are starting to drop into the 18-second bracket. Leader Brent Roy is still just under that the last few laps. Steve, and yeah, this is a really juicy battle forming for 2nd place. Just Keith is just trying all he can to get that pass to happen. And it just, the more time you spend behind a truck, even though it's a short track, you get dirty air is definitely a factor. Heats up the brakes, heats up the tires. You're also just more and more greedy on the throttle, which burns up your rear tires as well. Just Keith is fast. He can't quite, he's not fast enough to get up next to Steve.
The other problem right now going on for Keith Lord is he has Zane Farrell right behind him. So Keith can't really do anything contradictory to what Steve Daddio is doing, because if he leaves a lane open that Zane wants, he could very well go down in there, take that lane away, and leave Keith Lord out to dry. And then that opens up right now. Zane gets to attack Steve Daddio too. So Keith has to be extremely careful right now that he doesn't put him into maybe a precarious situation to allow that 14 truck to maybe get to his inside, get to his outside. I think that 14 truck is very fast right now, certainly faster than the 17.
Yeah, for sure. Steve Daddio ran a really nice lap last time at a 19.9. He was the only one under, or 18, or 17.9, sorry. He was the only one under 18 seconds, but Brent Roy back down into the 17.9s this past lap. To take a look there. See, look at how yawed out the 17 truck is there, Keith Lord. Just fighting to get back on the throttle, both ends of the racetrack here. And me personally, I love a loose race truck. Just having to manhandle the thing around both ends of the track, and Five Flags always seems to produce that type of driving. As you see Zane trying to get underneath Keith Lord for that position.
Yeah, Zane's probably got his tongue sticking out right now, acting, going like a dog. Then Keith Lord is doing the same thing. But I think if Zane's doing anything, he's licking his chops. You can see every time Keith gets loose up off the corner, Zane just gains about 2 feet on him. So you see Zane now sticking it down to the inside of Lord. Let's see if he can stay down there off the corner. If he gets loose on his outside, 5 laps to go this time by. Zane just not quite able to do it. I don't know if he's too loose right now and he's concerned, right? If you go for that move on the inside, if your truck's already loose, might force you to spin the thing out towards the inside wall.
Yeah, I mean, Zane's got two problems going to the bottom. The truck's going to want to push up when he's trying to get that mid-corner speed going, and then when he gets back on the throttle with all that wheel input, the truck's going to want to spin out. Now, you can obviously see Zane's got much better life in his rear tires compared to Keith Lord. Keith's sideways just about out of every corner, but he has the momentum on his side. He's able to at least carry that momentum, and he's just pretty much saying, go for the bottom. I'm not, you're going to have to pass me on the bottom if you want to get around me.
Yeah, the best thing that could happen for Zane right now is that Lord would get extremely loose off the corner, drive the car down the inside, and then Zane could get up on his outside. That's where you want to be right now. I think with how loose these trucks are, you can see Zane and Keith going up to the top of the racetrack. So we've got 2 laps to go here. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at the leader. Brent Roy's going to take the white flag. That means 1 lap to go. He's led every single lap of this race, really been uncontested since about the drop of the green flag for the third time. He's just had clean air in front of him, not really any troubles for that number 26 machine. The Camry kid is going to win race number 1 here in the Summer Series at Five Flag Speedway. He'll take the checkered flag. Behind him is Daddio and Keith Lord, Zane Farrell, Corey Casagrande going to round out the top 5. We're going to go ahead and set you folks at home up with a quick video while we wait for the results to come in. Maybe we'll get a couple drivers up here in the booth so we can interview them. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Five Flags. We're here in Pensacola, Florida for the NEP Summer Series. Brent Roy is your winner. He started first. He finished first. He led all 80 laps in the affair today. We'll go ahead and go through the finishing order of today's race. Steve Daddio finished in the second position. He started there, but a little up and down for Steve. Keith Lord started in the 5th spot. He moves up to finish on the last step of the podium. Zane Farrell started 4th. He finished 4th as well, but again, a crazy race for him. Corey Casagrande all over the shop there to start the race, but he'll bring it home just inside the top 5. Tim Shinoski drops 3 spots. He started 3rd. He'll finish in the 6th position. Ryan Messer started all the way in the back of the field, didn't quite have it work out his way for tire wear. He'll finish in the 7th position. Jared Adams, Jeff Bradway, and Zach Plessity round out the top 10. Zach in his NEP Series debut here tonight. Scott McDonald finishes in the 12th or the 11th position. Garland Meadows, another driver making his debut in NEP. He'll finish in the 12th spot. Paul Strickland Jr. trades his microphone for his steering wheel. He brings it home in the 13th position, followed by Jeff Brown in 14th. Jason Ricker in 15th, and Adam Henry there in 16th. Those last 2 drivers pulled off the track earlier. That's why you see them so many laps down. Let's see if we can't go ahead and get our race winner up here into the booth. Brand, it's Austin and the boys. You got a copy?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good from up here. You guys put on a great show, but obviously, yeah, I think you probably had the best time of anybody tonight. Lots of clean tracks. Started out on the pole, led every single lap. Was there any point in this race you were worried you might not pull it off?
Oh man, I'll tell you, I showed up late for practice, had about 3 laps, and then just threw the lug nuts on the dash in qualifying and spun out of my second lap. And luckily, held on for pole. So, um, for just winging it, I'm pretty happy with that. I think this place is just so hard to pass. It's one of those like you got to slow down to when you get side by side with somebody, you want to drive harder, and that just slows you down. So it's just so hard to pass here. So it made it a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, a caution with like 10 or 20 to go, I probably would have got gobbled up. So happy that did not happen.
Well, you do have the opportunity, right, to come down pit road, bolt on the four fresh tires. Was there anything going through your mind, right? If a caution did come out with 10 or 20 to go, are you going to come down and take four? Is this an opportunity where you take two tires just to make sure that nobody passes you? You mentioned it was so hard to pass here.
Yeah, no, I think you'd have to take 4 or else you just get friggin' swallowed up. But yeah, if we were gonna pit, if a caution came out, I think everybody was gonna pit anyway. I don't think I had the raw speed that everybody else had. I just had some track position and saved my tires a little bit better and kind of just stretched at the end, kind of locked into it, I think. But it was a lot of fun. My right arm's a little tired there because you're pretty much going in a perfect circle here the whole time, and just very light on the throttle. So it was a fun. You race the track here, so it's quite fun. Nice to get back in the seat.
Oh, for sure. You're batting 1,000 right now. Just quickly before we go ahead and hand the floor to you to thank everybody that makes this whole thing possible for the 26 truck. What are your thoughts about heading to Phoenix in a couple weeks?
Phoenix is a fun track in these things. I don't know which layout we're gonna run yet, but I know that tire fall off is really huge there too. So it's yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Another difficult place to pass, but again, just a fun track overall and a little more speed and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how some of the rookies come up and who's got speed there and whatnot to mix it up because it's a lot of fun racing with the guys you're used to racing, but it's also interesting to race with guys that you're not used to racing too. So hopefully we'll have a few more out for Phoenix and it'll be fun.
For sure. Brent, just before we let you go, now's your time to thank everybody that makes this whole thing possible for you.
Oh, just can't thank everybody in the booth enough. Usually it's Paul and the boys, but you guys, Ryan and or Sal and Austin, giving a good feed for everybody. And Flow Racing on the truck here for the last little bit of the summer. We got a new sponsor coming for next year, so excited for that. And 229 Autosports bringing some fast trucks once again. So big thanks to everybody there, and of course everybody else on the track, for just running clean. And again, it's lots of fun to race with these guys whenever you get a chance.
Awesome. Brent, congratulations once again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Brent Roy, winner here tonight at Five Flags. We'll go ahead and Kenny's going to take over the interview to talk to our good friend Steve Daddio, finished second place tonight.
Howdy, Steve. Great run for you tonight in second place. But what do you think you were possibly missing from your truck or from yourself tonight to be able to catch that 26?
I need some more seat time here. We were checking tire percentages after the race, and I wasn't really sawing on the wheel too much. I probably could have centered a little harder and used the brake a little bit to gain on entry there. But I was fast in qualifying along the apron, so I was trying to keep it there. And then as the run went on, started changing my line a little bit, but just didn't push her hard enough. Kind of let Brent get away, but was nervous. Didn't really have a lot of don't have a lot of experience here, so wasn't really sure how hard to push it. And turns out I just left too much on the table there and let Brent get away from me.
Yeah, I definitely liked the line that you were running, trying to run right along the that white line in turn 1 and 2 and keep it low in 3 and 4 the best you can. Later in the race, you had a pretty spirited battle there with Keith Lord for the second and third spot. What was that like trying to balance the handling of the truck and run consistent laps with a truck right in your rearview mirror?
So, for the folks at home, it's really difficult to keep your concentration when that front bumper is right back on your rear bumper. Feathering the throttle out of four, I think, was the difference there. I felt like or actually two as well. I felt like I could get out a little better than he was. He was kind of throwing it in and putting the pressure on me, and I just chose to held my own there and to hold my own line that I was running all race and just stick with it and trust myself in the truck. Like I said, I was fighting a mental battle in my own head with my own truck at the same time, so it was pretty intense. That's a lot of pressure. I, as usual, worked up a good sweat behind the wheel here. Good thing I got my fans on, but a lot of fun running with Keith. He gave me three or four shots that I could feel coming out of four. I think he was just a little bit better there, but yeah, really intense, a lot of fun. I think him and I were pretty even. I think if the roles were reversed, I might have had just as much trouble getting by him. But like I said, just talking about it, really good battle here. Really like this racetrack. The truck seems to suit it, but hard to pass.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun up in the booth watching you guys out there battling. But before we let you go, who would you like to thank for the run tonight? I know you've been doing a little bit of real racing this summer, so that's been exciting. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I guess we'll get that part out of the way first. It's really cool coming off the simulator and jumping into a car, running a limited late model at Stafford Motor Speedway, and the first time out in practice was a bit overwhelming. I wasn't really pushing the car. I think we were full 2 seconds off the pace or something like that. And then this last time out was our second time getting to the feature, and we were over a second and a half faster from where we started. But and running P11 too, we were gaining on them a little bit, but the rear end started leaking oil, and the officials weren't too happy about it, so they parked us. But those guys also sponsor this car, so I get to thank all three of them now. Daddy was Auto Parts, thanks for always being there. Dad, really appreciate all the support and everything you do. Reverie Brewing, or if you're in Newtown, Connecticut, stop by. Really, really cool place. YRD, thanks for the cool paint schemes. Norton family, thanks for jumping on the limited late model car. Uh, how about you four boys? My four wide rep and we buddies, my team on iRacing. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for calling the race today. All right, Sal. Thanks for doing the broadcast. Really cool to jump back in. It's a lot of fun. And then all the guys in the league that are running and support this. That's what makes it fun.
All right, Steve, awesome. You're really consistent tonight. Thanks for jumping in the booth, and go get him next time.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for calling this race. A lot of fun.
That was Steve Daddio, who finished second place tonight, and I believe you grabbed our fourth place finisher tonight, Zane Farrell.
Yeah, I got Zane. Zane, Austin, and the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. Loud and clear.
Zane, it looked like you were having a blast out there racing. You did a good job. You fell back a couple spots and you came back through the field. I think you were one of the three fastest trucks there at the end. Just couldn't quite get around Keith there on the bottom of the racetrack. What was going through your mind there towards the end?
Towards the end there, I mean, we started catching lap traffic, and it was pretty neat to see that we, got to run a really long green flag run, and we started catching lap traffic at the end, and I felt like I might have had a shot, but it just didn't play out that way. Every time I got to the bottom under Keith's left rear, it just like every time I got back to the throttle, it just wanted to, come around on me. So I was just trying to bide my time and whatnot. So, but if it had a couple more laps, I might have, pushed the issue, but for third place, I wasn't going to do it to Keith.
No, for sure, for sure. Zane, it looked like, again, like I mentioned, you were kind of up and down there in the race. Towards the start, were you trying to save your tires? Did you have maybe an inkling that this might go green, or were you kind of just biding your time there for the first little while?
I was trying to figure out how everybody else was going to race it because I noticed a little bit of guys trying to save some tires, and it looks like they were saving tires, and some looked like they were ready to go. It just kind of played out in our favor. I'm not really good at saving tires, but I just wanted to ride behind guys, see how they would race, and if we were faster, then I would have taken a chance. But this place was really really hard to pass on the inside a lot, so
No, for sure. Well, Zane, I mean, you did a great job tonight. Like I said, up and down through the field, made a lot of good passes there. It just doing a whale of a job there, especially saving your tires. Before I let you go, the floor is yours, man. Thank everybody and anybody that makes it possible for that 14 truck to get to the track each and every week.
Well, I got to thank, Corey Casagrande's pocketbook. He took the tires. He bought the tires. I mean, he took the trucks. He probably wadded up like 10 trucks in practice, and he just kept rolling them off the trailer. Can never have a great team owner like him. But I like to thank Sal for putting this together. It's pretty fun. Try to get some new guys in the NEP uh, full season next year. So yeah, about it.
Excellent. Zane, thank you so much for your time. Nice job on the P4. We'll let you go.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you.
Zane Farrell finished in the fourth position today. Kenny, just some quick thoughts before we go ahead and wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah, it was just a really great race out there. Had a little bit of a rocky start with a couple cautions, but then everybody really settled in and just kind of ran. They really raced the racetrack for the most part, but there were some good spirited battles out there, some clean racing. And I just love watching the trucks, slipping and sliding. These guys were really manhandling the trucks out there, trying to manage the tires the best they could. It was a driver's racetrack tonight. One reason why I really like this place. And I thought it was a great start to the summer series.
We'll have a lot more of that slipping and sliding, like was alluded to earlier. In 2 weeks, we're going to go to Phoenix International Raceway for round two of the summer series. I should be joined in the booth by John Peters if everything works out as intended. But regardless, we'll have a broadcast for you guys. Hopefully, all the drivers out on track put on a great show. On behalf of myself, Austin Belke, my booth mate Kenny Kibbe, and our director Ryan Salvatore, thank you so much for watching and have a good night.